All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all glory and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Honors and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing this word in true sincerity. This is the brother Tawab Rakha from GMS Los Angeles / Inland Empire. Come back with another video in the spirit. And once again, Thawadi Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, for my knowledge is truth. Allow me to wake up another day and putting the spirit on me to do another lesson in hopes to edify the hopeful elect. Okay, so in this video, I'm gonna title it Sedition is on the way. Okay, sedition is coming. And the signs that the Lord told us to look for, Matthew 24, Luke 21, we're seeing that these things occur on the earth. Okay, you got this situation over there in Iran with these protests, and I believe last time I checked, they said the death toll was around, I believe it was to like 2,500, somewhere around there. You had 2,500 people, that's dead. Because of those protesters, the Iranian people basically going against the government, okay? Because of, the economic situation over there, and that's going to come over here to America, Babylon, okay? Because over here in America, people have the same similar sentiments when it comes to the government and to this economic situation over here in the United States, okay, where you have the average household is is struggling, man, and that wealth gap, between the rich and the poor is just getting wider and wider, and this is where it's going to lead to. It's going to lead to that sedition, because people are getting fed up here. People are getting fed up with being in that hamster wheel, man. It's only so much, people can put up with until people snap, and then, we're also approaching a war. You see what's going on with the U.S., Trump, going to these different countries, recently, they captured the Venezuelan president Maduro, okay, and Trump talking big shit. So war is on the horizon in Venezuela. They do business with Russia, China, because Venezuela has a lot of resources, man, and that's why mainly that's why the U.S. went over there. They basically hijacked that place. But all these things, are in the scriptures. They're in the Bible, man. And, us, Lord willing, we brothers be of the elect, the hopeful elect. We look at these things as, these signs as these signs are very comforting to us, because we know that all these things that are taking place or signs that the Lord is close. Our Lord Yahweh Shai is close, okay, which means our redemption is close. So I'm gonna just bring out a few scriptures, Lord willing. I pray this be edifying to you sincere brothers as well as you few sisters out there. So I'm gonna get right into it. This is Luke chapter 21 verse 25. It says, "And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations." And that's what we're witnessing. Okay, we have all these different solar eclipse, lunar eclipse. Okay, solar eclipse dealing with the sun, lunar eclipse dealing with the moon. Okay, we have these, we've been having these super moons, blood moons. Okay, we have all these chariot sightings. Okay, and now, and it says upon the earth distress of nations, and we're witnessing that. And that's the distress over there in the land of Iran. That's a lot. That's what's going on right now. Distress. And like I mentioned, the death toll is around 2,500 plus. maybe more now, but that's this is all biblical. All right, it says, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. Right, because we're in some bad times right now, man. These are evil times that we're in. Okay, and all these things are necessary in order for the Lord to return and to bring order back on this earth, because everything is upside down right now under the rulership of the so-called white man. Okay, he's the reason why all this distress is going on. He's the reason why the earth is in the state that it is in right now. Because he's the wicked that the Bible speaks of. Okay, I'm gonna read it again. It says, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And that's what we're patiently waiting for, our Lord Yahweh Shai, which he's going to return in the cloud, which the cloud is referring with this, what this so-called white man calls a UFO, which is a chariot. Okay, it's a massive spaceship. So for you to understand. Okay, that's how the Lord is going to return. Okay, and the powers of heaven, we're referring to really these elites, the super rich. Okay, they're the ones that's in power right now. In heaven, meaning when it refers to heaven, it's referring to the height, because they're sitting high, because they're empowered. Okay, and like I mentioned, those are those banking families. Okay, so they know that the Lord is close. That's why they're moving. They're trying to get this NWO, so-called New World Order, established, which they're not going to be able to fully implement. The Lord's going to allow them to get to a certain point, but he's not going to be allowed to go past that point, because the Lord's going to allow him, to make that chip mandatory, because that's pursuing the Revelation, the 13th chapter, 16th verse. Okay, but as far as him fully, bringing that NWO into fruition, he's not going to be able to, man. All right, it says, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. So we know our redemption is nigh, because all these signs that the Lord told us to look for, they're happening. Okay, and that's why the Lord told us to watch. We're supposed to be watching for what? Watching for the signs, watching for the prophecies, because all these things are indicators that the Lord is close. Okay, so I'm gonna get the Apocrypha, because these are the times that we're living in. Okay, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 15 verse 1. It says, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. Right, and we're coming out of the word of the Lord, which is the Bible, the scriptures. Okay, all these things that are written in the scriptures, that's what we're speaking. And all the imaginations against us, we're not concerned about that, man. Okay, talking about the unbelievers, especially of our people, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay, because that's the spirit, majority of our people they're in that spirit of incredulity, man, unbelief. Okay, but regardless of whether they believe or not, we have to tell them these things. We have to warn them, pursuing the Ezekiel, the 33rd chapter. Okay, now I'm gonna jump down to 14, because this relates to the times that we're into. All right, this is Second Ezra 15-14. It says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." Okay, and that's like you're seeing that in these different countries. Then the news is hot over there in Iran right now. But that's coming over here to America. Okay, you're gonna see sedition. You're gonna see uprisings. You're gonna see riots. Okay, you're gonna see people out here, with no regard for the law or the ordinances that this man's gonna put out there. People are gonna disregard those things, because like I said in the beginning of the video, people are fed up. Okay, people are tired of being squeezed, man. People are tired of being lied to. Okay, they're tired of being robbed. Okay, via these taxes. Okay, these income taxes, all these these stipulations that this damn devil has out there. And people are sick of it, man. So you're gonna have people out here, that's gonna get to that breaking point. People are out here, they're going to be putting each other to death, okay, over food, because there's going to be a famine here in this land. There's going to be a shortage of food, okay, food, drink, okay. So people are going to be in that survival mode, all right. It says, "For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." Right. And when you watch movies like The Road, I Am Legend, The Book of Eli, it's going to be, those movies give you visuals, or, gives you an idea of how, these times are going to be. Okay, and even that movie Contagion, you're gonna see people out here, putting each other to death for, canned goods, something simple as a can of peas, a can of corn, or whatever, that's within that someone can consume. People are going to be slaughtering each other for these things, okay? But those of us that serve Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Lord willing, like I said, Lord willing, we be those men. The Lord's servants are going to be good in that time. The Lord's going to take care of his servants, okay? The Lord's servants are going to eat, but the rest of these people out here, they're going to have to resort to a lot of them gonna have to resort to cannibalism, man. All right, it says Slakia. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes." Like I said, they're not gonna regard these leaders, these mayors, these governors. Okay, they're gonna totally disregard what they have to say, and it's just gonna be lawlessness out here, man. All right, it says, "In the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able." And that's how bad it's going to be, because these cities are going to be cut off, man. Okay, depending on what area you in, if you live in a major city, or you live in an area where it has a lot of traffic of people, those different little areas, people, those little pockets on the outskirts of those major cities, those cities, towns are going to be cut off, okay? And those that live in the major city, they're going to be cut off, okay? That's what's coming, okay? It's about to get crazy out here, man. That's why it's imperative to, for brothers out there, as well as you sisters as well, to take this thing serious, man. Take heed, to what the Lord is saying through his men, okay? Because there's going to be a time where you're not going to hear our voice anymore, man. You're not going to hear the prophets. You're not going to hear the apostles, the elders. Okay. There's going to be time that time is quickly approaching, man. You see what's going on with this whole freedom of speech thing. They're attacking that freedom of speech, so hey, man, this Lord willing, this could be the year, Lord willing, All right, it says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and their houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. You see that? So men out here are going to be afraid because this is a time like no other. Okay, it's going to be so bad. People want to be thinking like, damn, who can be saved? Who's going to survive these times? Which the elect are. Because the Lord has a small remnant reserved that's going to make it through all these things. Okay. Now you're going to have some that are martyrs, but they're going to be risen first. Okay. So that small remnant are the ones that's going to be in good case when these times come. Okay. All right. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. And that's what's coming. Great tribulation is coming. Okay, like I said, men are going to be invading one another's homes, okay, because there ain't no food. Okay, so they're going to take these guns, and you see these Edomites, okay, mainly Esau. You got Jakes with guns out there, but mainly these Edomites, that's what they've been training and preparing for, man. They've been preparing for times such as these, the time that's getting ready to go down. Okay, because these Edomites, like these militias and these Second Amendment, the Second Amendment right Edomites, they always like to talk about the Second Amendment. These are going to be the individuals that it's going to be out here, basically in that spirit of going up against the government, okay? Because these Edomites, they see what's going on in this society. They've been speaking on these things for years, man. They've been saying how corrupt these politicians are, and because there's a lot of whistleblowers out here that these Edomites that speak against what's going on in the higher ups, among the higher ups in the society. Okay, so that spirit of division, the Lord is bringing it. Okay, He turned the Egyptians against the Egyptians. Okay, so it's gonna be all out hell here in America. Okay, all hell is gonna break loose. It's so much division on all sorts of levels, man. All across the board is division here in this society, and that's what happens when you have a society with no order, man. That's why this place is called Babylon. It's full of confusion, man. So it's only right that this place go out in destructive fashion, man, because this place is destructive. Okay, so I'm gonna read one more scripture, and I'm gonna wrap it up. All right, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. It says, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For the Most High shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil." And that's the conclusion, is to fear the Lord, keep His commandments, to the best of our ability. You know what I'm saying? And because the Lord, He's going to judge everybody according to their own work. He don't judge, whether we do evil, whether we do good, So that's the point. So, yeah. So I'm going to wrap it up. So, Lord willing, I pray this was edifying to you sincere brothers, as well as you few sisters out there. Stay strong. Keep fighting. We almost out of here. So with that, I'm going to give all glory and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Hakwadash. The honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Honors and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing His word in truth and sincerity. Shalom.